Despa has made me sign a non-disclosure form.
And none of that's going on the record either.
We spoke
None of
about
it.
when you kind of started like Stay Fresh and later B.30.
Oh, you did your research.
Obviously.
Go on. I knew what I wanted, but I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Okay.
I'm not even joking. Like, I was so stressed that somehow, some way, I wasn't going to be alive. I sent my friend a photo of me on a roof in New York. Yeah, I was close last year. And the only reason I'm still here is because of my kids. You got a theme tune? You got a theme song? It's the Melzy Show. Dun.
Welcome to Mek Sense with Melzy, where we make sense of the world we live in through real culture conversations. Now, everybody wants to be an artist. Everyone wants to get into the music industry. But what we want to know is who is really behind the master plan? And of course, I had to get one of the biggest, baddest in Brum. Who else am I going to get? Joining me today is a serious name in the UK music industry, a Birmingham music manager and exec who has worked with the likes of Remchecks, Daps on the Maps, currently managing JK, and led by her from running labels to breaking artists. Welcome my guest, Despa Robinson.
That's like the best intro I've ever had in my life. I wish I had a theme song at the same time as well, because that is the best. Like, literally, I was like, whoa, okay, that's me.
I like to make sure my guests get their props, because
Thanks,
sometimes we
Melz.
don't, especially when you're always busy as well, you don't
Yeah.
get the opportunity to hear how people see you.
Yeah.
And obviously I've known you for many years. Years,
Over,
isn't it?
it's got to be over 10 years.
Over 10 years. And we've recently reconnected because you're like
Mhm.
always busy. So Despa's always busy, guys. I had to get his phone number just to tie
Where
him
did you
down
get my
to-
number from, actually? Because, you know, I didn't question that at all.
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't question it. Because it was you, I didn't
Because
question
you
it.
gave me the number.
Oh, okay.
Remember, where were we? We were at the Red Bull Cash.
Okay, yeah.
I saw you there.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, send me an email, send me the answers. No. Let me take your number. So I've got the direct access and he's here today. Obviously, he's going to come onto my podcast because...
Nah, you're the only person currently that I would do this for.
Really?
I'm not even joking. I don't like, I'm like, yeah, I just don't like talking to people.
You
all the time.
actually rate me, Des.
I do rate you, Mel.
Love
like,
that.
I rate you. I do rate you. Like, and I see what you're doing and I think it's sick.
Thank
So,
you so
you know,
much. So can I get on more guest lists, please, for your events?
Do you know what? I don't do any events and I don't really have any. I'm usually like a +1.
I want like
I'm not even joking.
What about listening parties? You do listening parties and stuff.
I haven't
like
done one
that.
of those for ages, but if I do one, you'll be there.
Make sure.
I should do more stuff, you know.
You should.
But like, I just kind of got like to the point. I was a bit run down, and I was like, you know what? I need to rebuild myself. So but I should do more stuff. Putting people's in rooms is important, I think.
Yeah, and I think because Birmingham's so small as well, like
Yeah.
it's important that we all I think we are starting to work a lot more collaboratively together.
Yeah.
And
You know what? Can I just say something
on.
at that point, just so everybody knows that I'm not a bumblehole. I'm just naturally antisocial.
He
And
is.
so if I'm not like, I'm naturally, if anybody that knows me,
Yeah.
it's not that I don't like anybody.
Mhm.
It's not like I don't want to work with anybody. It's not like I feel like my shit don't stink and everything like that. It's just I am naturally an introverted, antisocial person that just wants to be on my fucking own. That's it. So I just want to put that out there, yeah.
You heard it first, yeah,
people are like,
guys.
oh, my man don't want to do it. No, listen. I just want to chill, like in my own space. That's it.
Of course.
That's it.
So
That's
if you've
it.
slid in
Other than that, I'm
his
cool.
DMs and sent him an email or called him and he's not answered, this is a disclaimer that he's just naturally antisocial.
And I found out I got autism as well, so allow me in my tismatism.
In your
I'm a bit tismic,
yeah,
which is great, by the way.
Thought I had ADHD. I need to actually get a test, but I'm not actually sure whether. But the signs are very signing.
Yeah, and everybody around me, when I found out, told me that the signs were signing, but never told me. He's like,
saying to you like, why not tell us?
You were a bit like, you ever thought about getting a test? No, they didn't tell me.
I'm definitely gonna get it on my card
I
still.
just suffer from my own, you know.
Bless
it's all right,
you.
though.
You'll get through it. Well, they say some of the most successful people are like on the spectrum.
Yeah.
It's the creative mind and how the mind works as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, it's my superpower at this point.
I find that
because how I think about things,
it's not the same
and things
as everybody.
not the same as everybody else, and it's the attention to detail. It might come across as overthinking, but actually you're thinking the worst case scenario, and subconsciously preparing yourself for that and be able to problem solve quite quickly.
And then I can see something that's 2 pixels to the left, and I'll be like, that's you move that 2 pixels to the right, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then it's because I was like, pixels.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah.
Definitely. How we start the show
Yeah.
with what don't make sense and what does make sense. So it could be absolutely anything that's popped up this week for you. So let's start with what don't make sense to you.
Have you ever seen the film Mufasa, the new one?
I've not seen it yet. But go on, do it.
Ruin it for anybody?
No, ruin it.
But I went to go and see it, yeah.
Mm.
And the film is about Mufasa and Scar,
Mhm.
yeah, and how they became like brothers because they're not. But anyway,
Mhm.
but in the film, it's blatantly obvious who Scar is. And it wasn't until the end of the film when actually they named him that somebody like that was not sitting too far away from me was like, "That's Scar," and I was like, "That didn't make sense." I've been watching the same film as you. How come we didn't know this by now? I knew it, but how come you didn't?
Yeah, that's
And it made me
wild.
question some things about people and intelligent levels. But anyway,
So maybe they didn't want to bring the character in too soon. Keeps people thinking.
no.
Because I've not watched the film. It's probably incorrect.
I wouldn't bring this up, yeah, if it wasn't obvious. You gotta watch the film.
Okay.
It's Scar the whole way through. He didn't stop saying his
Really?
name. And then someone was like, "That's Scar." I was like, "Whoa, that didn't make sense." And it made me really question the people that are around us and what's going on in there.
Maybe you can just see things that people can't see.
Nah, it was obvious, man.
It's really obvious.
You watch it.
I'm gonna watch it.
Watch it and then tell me and say, "You know what, Des, you're overreacting."
Okay.
And if I was overreacting, I would say, "You know what, sorry for judging people. But I think I'm right."
We listen and we don't.
No, we don't judge. Out loud.
Not out loud. Sometimes.
I won't bully you or anything.
So what would you say does make sense to you?
What makes sense to me? Communication. You like that one, didn't it? Yeah.
Can you expand on that point, please?
Just
Despa?
open communication and dialogue,
Yeah.
you know, resolutions. Being able to come to somebody and talk and like reason something out and leave with a better perspective on either the situation or the problem at hand or whatever. And yeah, I think communication is important.
Yeah, I do agree with you there. I think I've always been kind of like an open communication kind of person. But when you go a little bit deeper, it's like,
The ground.
it's kind of like, I don't like confrontation. And not liking confrontation is avoiding communication.
Yeah, you know what? Yes. And
Actually,
I have to give people grace for that as well,
yeah.
to be honest, which is sometimes I'm not the best at. Is grace
But you have
all the
to,
time.
you kind of have to confront a situation,
Mhm.
even if it does feel uncomfortable. And even me, I've just learned over the last 12 months, like, nah, something doesn't feel right. Something doesn't feel right.
You just gotta say it.
I got to say it out loud.
You know, when you did that, you reminded me about that video that I saw when you were in like, the ninja suit and you jumped in, whatever. Anyway, just great video.
Thanks for that video,
Like,
guys.
amazing video.
It almost went viral. We've got loads of views to that.
Amazing video, man.
More funny content coming.
Good.
What don't make sense to me at the moment is,
Yeah.
I'm quite old school when it comes to music.
Okay.
So I'm used to like hearing an intro to a track, a hook, a chorus, a verse. And it doesn't make sense how like all of the tracks are like 2.5 minutes and really, really quick. And I'm like, oh, where's the rest of the track? I feel like it's really, really changed.
Do you know why music was 3.5 minutes before?
Why?
Because for the radio edit. Or basically, music will usually follow the technological format of delivery. And at the moment, the thing that's working is obviously streaming, attention spans are shorter. I did it with a track by a guy called 5EB literally last night. His track was like 2 minutes. I was like, oh, that's great. I want to hear it again. Oh, that's great. I want to hear it again. So I played it like 5 times because it was so short. And they get more streams for that. So that's one of the reasons why music's shorter now, is because of people trying to inflate their streams by having shorter run times on the songs and you wheeling it back.
But is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because you might want to get more out in a song.
And people still do that. So it's not like everybody's got short songs, but it depends on what you're trying to do. And obviously music's a business as well. So there has to be business interests also aligned with artistic interests, and nothing stopping you from making a 5-minute song. But are people really going to listen to the 5-minute song if they're just trying to get to know you at the moment as a new artist? Maybe not. So depends what you're doing and depends who you are.
Yeah, that's
and
interesting.
depends how you want to approach your art versus the kind of commerce version of music, which is
because I'm thinking of like
industry.
Tyler's track.
Which one?
Which
Water?
No, not that one. The new one.
I don't know.
Motivation. Backs me up, give me motivation. Gas me up.
No, I tried to hold a straight face, so I didn't do it.
She literally said the chorus like 3 times.
Yeah,
Probably like the hook twice.
yeah.
Wasn't really a verse in there, but I do absolutely love that song. But then I'm like, I want more.
Probably TikTok,
Yeah, sad times.
because there's also now there's the problem with somebody hearing a song on TikTok, the snippet, and then going to the show and not even knowing the verse because they've never heard the verse before. Have you seen those videos?
Yeah.
It's like people are doing that.
Yeah.
So I think your demonstration of that title track is interesting, because if you're saying it's like a lot of the hook and not much verse, then I would probably think somebody's wrote it for this generation
Okay.
of yeah.
And I do love the song.
Let's give them the hook.
Give them the hook. Give it to them.
Get them.
What does make sense to me is not taking things personal.
Mm,
I'm someone that can take things quite personal,
same.
but I'm really in a space of not taking things personal and also thinking about what that person's going through, or, you know, why they might say it, and not necessarily thinking about it's about me and it's more about their issue.
Mhm.
And I think through doing that, things just don't bother you as much.
Mhm.
You can still set the boundaries, don't really like
Yeah,
that,
some-
don't really say that. But actually, I'm not going to take that too personal, because sometimes I can take it too personal. I'm like, I want to throw some here. I want to.
Yeah, no, I hear ya.
Do you get what I mean?
I do, and I need to do a bit more of that as well.
Do you take things personal?
Yeah, I can do.
Do you?
Sensitive.
I'm sensitive.
When I used to work for Apple, they taught me about this thing called assume positive intent, which is something I want to put out into the world. And it's basically if somebody does something, or something happens, or there's an action or whatever, like a lot of people just always think that somebody's trying to do something, or it's negative, or it's whatever, or it's intentional. But actually, if you take a step back to assume that there's positive intent behind the action that somebody did, then maybe you'll think better of the situation, and it will let you get into the conversation with the person or the resolution in a much more of a let's talk about this kind of way, rather than thinking, oh, there did be something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I like that.
Assume positive intent. It's powerful, man. I've carried it through life. That and perception is reality.
And I think having your power back is like not allowing anybody to poke you, no matter what they're saying
Yeah.
and what they're doing. There's really a lot of power in
Yeah,
that.
yeah, maintaining your own agency. and stuff.
Exactly.
No.
100%.
Mm.
So obviously within the music scene at the moment, like in the UK, it's just come leaps and bounds over
Yeah,
the
yeah,
last
yeah,
few
yeah, yeah,
years.
yeah.
And that's cross drama, whether we're talking about UK garage, grime, you know, UK R&B. I just feel like we're in a space where we have our own thing. And it's a beautiful thing to see, because it's actually giving people an opportunity to make money from something that they actually love. And that might not have been as accessible 20 years ago when you're spitting bars at Sidewinder over a garage beat. Do you know what I mean?
There's a famous sketch lyric where he says the booking fee's £200. And
Wild.
look how far he's come now. Like he's a multi-millionaire. So that's like, you know what I'm saying?
When you kind of started like Stay Fresh and later B.30,
Oh, you did your research?
obviously,
Go on.
I'm about my bag.
Go on.
Did you really know what you was getting yourself into? And was this just a natural
I
thing?
knew what I wanted, but I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Okay.
So
So what was the difference?
I dropped out of school at 15, wanting to do this, wanting to do what I'm doing. So I knew what I wanted, but did I know what it entailed? Did I know how arduous the journey was going to be? Did I know, like, and it's been lots of ups and downs. So there's been highs, like massive highs, like great moments, but then there's also been like lows to it as well. So yeah, like I just didn't. It takes a lot to be in the music business, because it's not just about I want to do music. There's like a lot to do in the business of music. There's a lot of kind of like resilience that you need to do that, and stuff I've had to learn, a lot of information. I'm still learning every single day, and I really mean that. Like I'm genuinely learning about this business and different trends and whatever every single day. So yeah, I knew what I wanted, but did I know the work that it was going to take to get here after 4 years?
Long time.
24, 25, nearly 4. I think I may as well call this my 25th year, you know. I think I said
Yeah.
that, you know.
You need to
Actually.
be having a party as well.
Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, yeah, it's a long road, man, and there's a lot to it.
Is there anything that you wish you knew before that you know now?
Yeah, like I just wish it's gonna take some time, and also the power of relationships as well. Like I think earlier on, I'm naturally an introvert, so I'm very just like to myself.
I'm not sure, you know.
I am, don't
Are
like
you not
it.
in between?
I'm
Because when we
I'm a
spoke yesterday, Despa was a chatty patty.
yeah, but I know you.
Yeah, but you were still a chatty
Have
patty
you ever seen me in public?
many times, but you're not
And
as a
was
chatty patty.
ah. There
We
we
spoke
go.
yesterday. This guy was, we were on the phone for an
Yeah,
hour.
yeah. Like to people I know, I'm gonna talk,
Okay, okay.
and then other than that, I'm quite reserved.
Reserved.
And people take it as I'm being like standoffish or rude. I'm not. I'm just generally I'm quite reserved. And if you see me in a room, you'll usually see me in the corner. Yeah, power of relationships, man. Like meeting people, talking to people, and building genuine relationships. And I don't mean like just transactional relationships, like building genuine relationships with people that are in the same field as you can, generate amazing returns. And even if you don't do business together, there might be somebody they introduce you to or whatever. So it's important to meet people. And it's important for people to like know who you are and kind of build that with people. And I think there's been times within my career when I haven't done that because I've just been like, I'm just gonna like, keep to myself, and that doesn't really work in the
Yeah.
music business. To be fair, in my position anyway, that's for artists. Artists can do that. Artists can be to themselves if they have somebody that's going to represent them in the spaces they need to be, and that's my job. So if that's my job, then I also can't be like an artist. I
Yeah.
can't be in the background. I need to be
At the front
meeting
line,
people,
really,
talking to
yeah.
people, being on the phone, sending emails and whatever. So yeah, that's kind of like I've had to come outside of what my natural disposition is to
Yeah.
be anyway near successful in the business. So yeah.
I feel like I'm a bit of a networker. I'm good at that, but I feel like sometimes I don't follow up sometimes. Like the list of numbers I have of really decent contacts that I've not contacted, I'm just taking numbers for the bands.
Should I tell you something?
Like, why do I do that? That don't make sense, Mal.
Don't do that. Reach out to them.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Just reach out to them. Like, especially, it's even better when you're doing stuff.
Yes.
So reaching out to people when you're not doing anything
It makes
is probably
sense.
the worst thing because you're probably reaching out to somebody that's probably doing something and probably busy. Like, what are you doing? Are you I don't call anybody a nobody, but I just mean like,
Yeah.
like don't be like doing nothing and trying to reach out to me like, yo, I'm here. You know what I'm
Very
doing?
true.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Make it make sense.
It don't make sense. I've got some. There's a lot of people I've got in my phone book and a lot of people I've met over the years that we were cool when we saw each other, whatever. And I probably won't reach out to at the moment just because it's like we don't have that relationship. And also, what does it make sense me communicating with you at the moment? No, like it doesn't. I'm just trying to force something for no reason. But there's time when we could work together, maybe. Then it might be the right time to reach out to them. But that's why, again, like I said, just foster like great relationships.
Yeah.
Maintain them. Yeah.
That's the main thing, really.
Yeah, maintenance.
Maintenance.
Yeah. Which I'm also not the best at sometimes. But
Yeah. It gets like that. Time. Time's on our hands all the time.
It gets like that, yo.
So you've worked with like Remchets, that's on Map.
Mm-hmm.
Currently you got JK on your roster and led by her.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of things do you actually look for when it comes to managing an artist? What's that pin that drops where it's like, that person's got it?
Do you know what? I never wanted to be a manager, you know.
No.
It's that question has been something I've had to learn over time. And I've had to learn via ups and downs again of like what am I looking for? And it's very much kind of like it's what I've learned is you can't outwork your artist. That's not supposed to be the way it's supposed to be done. Like the person's supposed to want it more because it's their career. Like they're supposed to want it, and you're supposed to help facilitate what they're doing and take the art that they are dying to get into the world and then take that and then make that a thing and monetize that on their behalf. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So going forward, and not to say that anybody I've worked with doesn't have that because they're all amazing artists and all produce great work. But going forward, I really think I've crystallized what it is I'm going to look for, which is like amazing work ethic and work rate. And not just work rate for the sake of it, but they're consistently working on their craft. And then somebody that has a vision for themselves and has an artistic vision for themselves. Because as management, you can help with the vision and whatever, but that person is supposed to know who they are and what their place is supposed to be in the world and what they're trying to communicate, whether it be sonically or whether it be visually. And our job is to help build that, bring that vision to life. So, and that's kind of what I was looking for in like artists that are signing on the label side as well. It's like, okay, because the thing about vision is that nobody else can see it. Do you know what I'm saying? Nobody else can see what you see.
100%.
So as the artist, I've got to talk to you and look at you and be like, you're telling me about, yeah, this. Imagine if you see that Kanye documentary. All right. So look at where Kanye is now and look at the footage from then.
Yeah.
And he's telling people,
this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to
be
do
this,
this. I'm going to do that.
and
He had the vision.
and they're looking
like,
at him like he's crazy. Like, bro,
yeah,
but you know, behind those eyes,
yeah,
he could see everything.
everything.
So I need to be able to look at you, the artist, and be like, okay, what is it you see that I don't? Then I'm gonna have to take a chance on that. But I have to understand that there's a conviction in the vision, because you're gonna bring something into this world that I can't see, but I'm gonna try and help you do it. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of like, I've started to work on that and be really good at that now. Is, does the artist have a vision? And then also, depending on what stage you're getting in contact with that person, has that vision already started to translate into a bit of audience? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because really, that audience of people that kind of get it as well. They're like, yo, fuck with this. Like, you know, it's a new music, or it's a new look, or it's a new vibe, or whatever, new trend. I'm early with this. And if you can see people starting to kind of like vibe with what that person's vision is, that's only going to grow, because those people are going to be like, yo, have you heard of my man? Have you heard of this? Have you heard of her? Or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm looking for, in short.
I think you did really well in terms of like JK, like being, we would say, is one of the biggest artists that's on your roster.
Yeah, he's the biggest artist I've managed, yeah.
And I know you've been with them for quite some time, haven't you?
Yeah, we are in our nearly 9th year.
Wow.
9th year in August.
Amazing. And sometimes it's really hard for Birmingham artists to get the recognition in the UK and in London. And I feel like JK is mandem, yeah? But he just gets recognition everywhere. Like, I've been to football matches and heard his song play, and the crowd is going wild. He's just a bit of a geezer.
He's probably the most himself person I've ever met.
Yeah.
Or one of them, at least, anyway. Like, Jay is like, he's just Jay. He hasn't changed since the day I've met him. He's grown as a person, but he hasn't changed. The core of who he is still the same. And I think that's why people vibrate with him. Like, I don't think people understand the people that Jay knows that are in his circle, that you won't see the whose house he's gone to, or who gave him this gift or whatever. You won't see it. But like, Jay has got like a very strong network of people that really appreciate him and appreciate the level of talent that is. And it's like, and he just gets around, man. It's like,
he gets around.
Yeah, he gets around.
And when you think about like artists that people would mention from Birmingham in London that they'll think about Millions, JK, you know, probably Ventraps, Mister's in there as well. Daps is in there as well, you know, but
there's a lot, actually.
There's a lot. There's a lot, way more. There should be a lot more than that. But I feel like now it's like, do you feel like it's one person that should come out of Birmingham per? Because I feel like everybody has their time. It shouldn't be like that. And I feel like everybody has their time of, I feel like it's still Millions time a little bit at the moment.
The next person up at the moment is a guy called Triz as well.
Okay.
I believe, anyway.
Yeah.
Triz, Zeno, he's still having a time, but he had a moment. But Triz is definitely got that forward momentum at the moment. But I think you're right about Millions. Leisha's popped back out again now.
Yeah.
She's getting traction again.
I saw her on Love and Hip Hop. I was like, yeah.
Was she?
She was on Love and Hip Hop. They came to London and
they Big Toes was on there as well.
Yes. And basically she did a show, and what I love her, because I've met Lady Leisha a couple of times.
This is cool.
And I think she's a bit of an introvert as well, actually.
Can I say something?
Go on.
I recorded her first song, you know.
Did you?
Yeah, in my studio at home, yeah. Her and Vader came there, and I did her first songs, like, and to see what she's done afterwards.
It's just amazing.
Like, it's amazing.
And I think what I love about Lady Leisha the most is she's just been authentic to herself, remained authentic. And on top of that, she's lyrically hard.
She's hard. Since the day I met her.
To do like a female rap battle, like her and Nole would be in my top pick.
What, versus each other?
Versus each other would be the hardest thing ever. Because I literally think...
I don't know
who would win at that point, because they're both equally lyrically talented. And their jabs...
I think Nole's more vicious.
Oh, you took the words out of my mouth. Nole can rap.
But
and it feels like she stabbed you, and she's not even talking to you.
She'll get vicious with you.
Whereas I think Leisha's really good at wordplay.
Yeah, amazing. Do you know what's
quirky with it?
Do you know what's always funny about Leisha, that I always pop her up and say, have you seen how many different ways she's remixed her name?
Yeah.
really check out the amount of different times Leisha's used leash or whatever in something, and it's amazing. Like even now over a drink unleashed.
Yeah.
It's like, no man, you're too good at this, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got
And I love
work
that for
like-
her, and I'm just glad that she's back and she's come back to the scene after the whole situation. And it's like, nah, man, let's keep our Birmingham people up there. Do you know what I mean? Talking about authenticity, I feel like there's a lot of power in being authentic, but I feel like in a world full of carbon copies, I know that sounds really bad, but it makes sense. I'm a metaphorical speaking person, guys.
Yeah, but that's something.
You know, carbon copies of people.
But people don't have identities for themselves nowadays.
Right.
You know, is what it is.
Do you think there's still power in being authentic and not necessarily?
Do I think there's still power? There's never not been power in being authentic. Like, and even more so now with the, you know, the coming of AI and like fake profiles and people that look like 15 different versions of whatever surgeon the Kardashians are using at the time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, being authentic is an actual superpower. Like, I think the human connection is always going to be the human connection. People buying into the story of a person is always going to be an important thing. And I think the more authentic you are, the closer connection you build with somebody, which is why YouTubers are some of the most powerful people in the world, because they've got that. If you watch a vlog or you watch something and that person's looking at you and you're watching that person for like an hour, you can imagine what kind of connection you built with them when they're delivering straight to camera, straight to you, what they're talking about. It's a serious thing, man. And that's why podcasting is so big as well.
And talk about authenticity. I know there's been clips at the moment. I know Getz is currently talking about, like, you know, his interview with Gowit. Big up Getz. He's really authentic. You can really see that come through in his music.
People understand how long Getz has been at the level he's at.
He's been there at the start.
In terms of like skill level.
Yeah.
It's insane, man.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
And for him to still remain authentic and say, like, there's one thing that in that interview that has stuck with me for about a week or so. He's like, I need to be able to face God because God's going to ask me, what did I do with my talent? And in a world full of, you know, people rapping about different things, clearly I'm the person that's supposed to keep that balance. And I really, really rated that. Even though Wiley has been kind of talking about this for a long time.
We've got Will, man.
What's kind of your take on that?
You got to be true to yourself and whatever vibrates with you. Like, there's people that will live certain things. And if you're an artist, you've got to live and speak about what either inspires you or your lived experience. So if your lived experience is clapping people, unfortunately, the music that you make might end up being that music. And then you might see growth from there as they have further more experiences and they grow as an artist and whatever. I just feel like you've got to use the talent that you have and you've got to use it at the place that you are.
Because you do see rappers grow from that as well.
Because you talk about kids. Like, these are kids, like, 15, 16, 17, 18, like 19, 20, 21, you're still like growing and developing as a person, and if you're living that environment and you're talking about certain things, and even if you're not doing that and you're just a gallus, or you're not doing that and you're a property person or whatever, like if you're doing art, again, you either speak about what your experience is or you take inspirations from people and you make an amalgamation of that, but as long as it's still true to you. So I think Getz is absolutely right. You got to use your own
talent.
Yeah, you got to use your own talent and facing God, like, you know, because it's God that's giving you the talent. You can't waste it.
You can't waste it.
You've got to use whatever your talent is for the right thing,
for the right reasons. Yeah. And I think that's just such an important message, that they do grow. Like what Stormzy probably rapped about when he first came out compared to now is two different things. But do you feel like some of these drill rappers or some rappers in general do incriminate themselves, which can get them into sticky situations? So do you not feel like there's a way of rapping about your experience, but without saying, chef, man, do you get what I mean? Like,
don't snitch on yourself. But that's the style now, and I'm not advocating for it either, because I've got kids, and like there's like you know, I got my daughter's 13. You know, it's not too long to where she's going to be outside, and the world that's developing out there is maybe not a world that I want her to be in much, but it is what it is. But
like, do you think it's a music manager's responsibility to curve that a little bit to a certain extent?
The problem is that art is supposed to be
free.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I get that.
Like, I've got a song that I released from an artist that I was managing, that was released on my album, on my label, that actually disses me. And
how rude.
And we spoke. Yeah, it was rude still. and he knows it was rude. But there's a song also that he apologizes to me in the song. But I don't know. I don't think that one was as loud as the one. You know how
Of
you know how
course.
things travel in it.
Yeah.
So well, we spoke about it beforehand, and when I first heard it, I was pissed. I was like, bro, what are we doing, bro? Like he was like, no, yo, but this is how I feel, man. I was like, bro, listen, I don't know about this one, you know. He's like, nah, I'm not changing it. I said, all right then, and I put it out because I'm not a bitch, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
And it came out, and people were phoning me, asking me, like, oh, what's going on? I said, yeah, I still manage him. And have you checked what it says underneath the song? It says B83 Music.
Yeah. You put
Art
it
is
out.
art. And just so happens I was in the firing line of the art, but I'm still not gonna get in the way of it because art is supposed to be art. And if I'm gonna be in this business and be a person that's an artist as well, I produce music. Like I know I respect art. I'm just gonna have to hold it, and I did. So, and I think generally, it's also a music manager's job though to protect the person that they're managing. So I won't say what I've just said without saying, if someone's going to incriminate themselves and they did a crime 2 weeks ago and they talk about it in the song, maybe somebody should say, are you sure about this one, bro?
Yeah.
Because when you put that out there, I think I read something the other day on Twitter that was there was a youth from London that got sentenced for talking about a crime that he didn't do, but he had information about the crime that nobody else could know unless they knew the people that did it. And because he wouldn't snitch on those people, he's locked up now.
Really?
If he had a manager, and hopefully, I don't know if he did or didn't, but that's the kind of stuff that somebody around you is supposed to have responsibility to say, come on, man, like,
you should be able to.
you know what I'm saying?
Because I know Digger D had a little bit of a situation with they were literally listening to his music
Yeah,
and attaching it to his case
yeah. I
and
mean,
stuff.
this is what they do nowadays. But people have got to know that, like, if I'm a Fed and I get paid 9 to 5 to listen to your music and to figure this shit out and to sit on Instagram and watch you all day, every day and lock you up, I'm going to do it. Like, it's my job. Don't make my job easier for me. Like, I'm sitting there, there's people sitting there watching everything that these rappers do and thinking, yeah, you know,
Just waiting for him to drop his
yeah,
next
yeah,
track.
yeah, cool.
That's wild,
You
though,
know,
when you
6
say
months
it
I might
like
have this
that.
person locked up. That's their job.
That's wild when you actually say it
And
like
the
that.
people don't think that way. Like,
Yeah.
your job is to be an artist and do whatever. Their job is to catch you if you're a criminal. That's their job. And they're gonna do that. So don't put it on the music and be like, oh yeah, I did this 2 weeks ago and I did this, that, the other with this person and we were driving this car and this is the license plate number or whatever. It's like, yeah, it's not the smartest thing to do, is it?
Wild.
Yeah,
Actually
it is what it
wild.
is.
I think sometimes a lot of artists don't actually realize like how much money goes into the music, whether it's PR, touring,
Yeah,
videos,
they don't.
management. Do artists actually see a profit?
It can do.
And could you break that down?
But it
Because
can get. I've managed people that are in profit
okay,
quite quickly because the music's like
still streaming,
it's moving,
right?
streaming, and I've also managed artists that we're continually managing the budget, and we're continually trying to find a way of getting to a profit situation because things are being reinvested into,
Right.
and you're not at that rate where the rate of return of the musical income that's coming in is bigger than bigger than the cost that you're assigning to your music to get it marketed and whatever. Now that's a decision between management and artists, and if an artist wants to carry on spending these expenses, but then you haven't got the income yet that's going to be generating return for you, then that is also the artist's decision. We're here to advise. But I've seen that happen, and it's a tough situation to be in when you know there's revenue coming in,
Yeah.
but it's not reaching the person's pockets yet because there's still kind of things that they're spending back into to generate more music, which is not wrong to do, but at the same time, it's like, when do you get to a point where you're actually
Making
seeing the
money.
returns on the
'Cause sometimes it
music?
takes years.
You can do. Like an overnight sensation is like 8 to 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, there was a stat last year where they were like, the best new artist at I think it was either the Grammys, one of the big shows anyway, best new artist, the average time that they've been making music was between, it was either 10 to 13 years or 8 to 10.
Wow.
And that was the best new artist. And that kind of tells you everything, really.
And this is the thing, sometimes it might not be your time yet.
No.
And I feel like sometimes people follow the money. I want $1 million deal.
That's the wrong thing.
I want a $2 million deal.
Let me say, I just said,
Break that down.
I just said, because we had a conversation this morning. So, I just said that it was the wrong thing to do. But it depends on what your intentions are.
Okay.
If you're like, yo, I want the bag, yeah. Like I was talking to an artist this morning, we literally had this meeting, like, what do you want? Do you want to get the bag or do you want to have longevity? Do you want to own your own stuff? What do you want to do? Because whatever you want to do is what we're gonna go and get for you. Yeah.
Okay.
And we're gonna advise you on all of this kind of stuff and be like, maybe, maybe not. But if you want to get £1 million in your pocket, this is like back to your example, and that's what you want to do, then get the £1 million.
Yeah.
Because yo, it's still £1 million.
Still £1 million.
And people have got the misconception that you owe the label the money. Kinda, but also no. Like it's recoupable does not mean repayable. Which
Okay.
is usually if you're an artist that's signed to a label, it's recoupable. That doesn't mean that one day they're gonna knock on your door and say, "Oh, you owe us £1 million. We're gonna take your house from you." It doesn't work that way.
Right.
It's risk money on their behalf, and it's their money to lose. And if they said, "Okay, cool, we're gonna drop this artist or shelve them," you still got to live your life, man. You still had the £1 million. That's it. So if you get the
Interesting.
opportunity and it's something that you want to do, don't let anybody shame you into like not. But you've got to understand what you're
What is it
signing
you
for.
want?
What are you signing? What's in this paper? Like how many projects are you gonna have to deliver? Who's the person that's gonna have to sign off certain things to get certain things? Like know what comes with the money, and know that maybe there's a point where you might not be able to put out music anymore because the label's like, yo, you haven't made the money back. We don't want to release you. Like you're gonna have to sit there till you find a hit. That might be a situation that you find yourself in. But did you want the bag? Well, if you wanted the bag and that's what you wanted and that's what you got,
it. Yeah.
do you know what I'm saying?
And that's so interesting because I feel like a lot of artists are in that situation where
Mm.
they're in label deals and okay, you need to make hit record. Oh, this is not sounding right.
Mhm.
You need to put this. I feel like there's less control, but there's more funds.
And yeah, but it also depends on what was in your deal and whether you have creative control. And that's something that you can get written into your deal.
Do you think it's important to have more creative control and keep your masters and have a level of ownership of what you genuinely want to put out? Or is it best to team up and compromise a little bit more with that?
Again, it depends what you want. Like it completely depends on what you want out of your career. Because for instance now, like if you're an artist, you're essentially a startup, especially if you're a new artist. So you're a startup business that's looking for an investor, which is going to be the record label. So that investor is going to go, okay, cool. I'm going to invest this amount of money into you, but this is what I want in return. And then when we get to a point where maybe you've made the return or you're looking like that, then maybe we can come back to the table and renegotiate. And that's what happens a lot of the times is artists will renegotiate their initial deals because the initial deals are usually terrible based on the fact that we can't guarantee that we're going to get that large amount of money back that we're putting into you. Partnering up with a company, and a lot of people are using these terms now as well, which is partnering up, is, okay, you're the record label, I'm the artist. We might partner up in terms that might not be the most favorable to me at the moment, but I understand that because I know what you're giving me is marketing, promotion, marketing funds, an advance for me to live my life while I'm making music. There's a lot of things that come with that, and I'm gonna have to give up something in return for that, and I maybe have to give up some ownership depending on what I want from you. So that is a situation that, you know, you're going in eyes wide open, but you have to, as an artist and the management team, understand what is it that you want and what you're trying to do. And then the other side, you can maintain full ownership, and you're going to have to keep putting in your own money and reinvesting and building. It might take longer. And then you're still going to have to go and do things like, you know, buy the same services that the major labels usually have in-house or can have the money to buy themselves and whatever. Because you can operate like a major label.
Yeah.
You can have the same people. You don't maybe not have the same funds and connections and whatever. But again, it depends what you want. I think ownership's important though. So to get
Because
to
if you're
the point,
talking like longevity, because if you're talking
ownership,
longevity,
yeah,
it would have to be
yeah,
ownership,
ownership.
isn't it?
And that's
You know,
evident.
some people sell their masters and stuff now for millions, and
Yeah, yeah. I
like
mean, but
it
I
depends
know
if
it's
you
like
want money
it
or not.
depends what you want.
Yeah,
Because like a person like Future has just done he's done a new deal. He's
yeah.
got the bag.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably they have those on license for a certain amount of time or whatever. You know, there are some deals when you can get you get to do a new deal and they may give you the ownership back to your old projects from before.
Okay.
And you can do like you can leverage, but it's all about leverage at the time. What there is usually, if you're getting those big bags, you're usually gonna give up some ownership.
Right.
And are you okay with that and for a period of time? And what are you getting for that in return?
Because almost giving up your ownership basically means that other people can play your music and they make money. You don't make any money from it. I don't actually know, like selling your masters, for example. Like,
Yeah, so selling your masters is the label will own the license or they will own the master. So,
okay,
but that doesn't mean that you're not making money anymore.
okay,
But if they've given you an advance on the master to say, okay, I'm going to advance you £1 million, so you will have to recoup that advance per the terms of your deal
okay.
before you start to see a royalty back. if those masters are clean enough and you've made your advance back, the label's going to pay you a royalty because
Okay.
eventually there's going to be accounting done, and they were like, oh, actually, we need to start paying this person money. So
Okay.
that's that. But then also, if you're a person that has sold your master to the label, then there's the publishing side of the business, and as your music's getting played, then you're still going to earn publishing money because that's a different part of money that the label. So there's like, just because you sell your masters doesn't mean you're not making any money completely anymore from the music that's being played. But it depends on if you don't own your publishing. I mean, if you sold your publishing and there's an advance to recruit there as well, then you might have to wait for that money before you see any more.
So what would be the
Blah
benefit
blah
then?
blah 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 blah.
What would actually the way I'm getting musical jargon
Yeah, yeah,
today, I've always wanted to know how it works because you never know, one day I might just pop out as a rapper, guys. You know, have the voice for it.
yeah.
What's the benefit for labels to buy masters?
Well, it's because that they're a business, so they want to own the thing that they're putting money into.
Yeah, but if it's like an old song,
Well, okay, but if it's an old song that's generating money, like
right,
a lot of record labels now, um, most of the money is made on catalog, so it's made on music that came out in like 70s, 80s, 90s,
right,
60s, or whatever. They're using that cumulative amount of music that's being consumed every single day is generating millions and millions and millions of pounds every day. So that's keeping the lights on. That's paying for them to invest in new artists. The ratio of labels usually is you will sign 10 artists, lose money on 9, make the money back on the one artist that pays for the 9 losses, or maybe you don't make any money back at all and the label folds.
interesting.
So that's kind of like they're signing loads of people. Spread betting, man. You sign loads of people. Sometimes you don't know who's gonna win, and you pump all this money in, and then somebody breaks, and those other ones never made any money, and they're a tax write off, and you drop them, and this one's now Ed Sheeran, and there we go. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Interesting.
Ed Sheeran's paying for everybody's wages.
There's a lot of talk at the moment with labels,
Right.
right,
Mm.
and masters, and people getting extorted from the top all the way down, money not getting to artists. I feel like there's a lot of, should you just be an independent artist, put your own money in
If you've got it,
if you've got it,
and if you
or
put, find
label?
someone that's gonna give it you
Because I
to
suppose
stay
it's
independent.
still a business, no matter how you look at it. It's just like,
It's a business. Like who is the plug? Like who is going to speak on your behalf? Artist. Like who? Like you're going to come into a field where people. The music business is a business that seems like it changes a lot, but it really doesn't. There's a lot of people that have been in this business for a long time, doing very well, have got their salaries, and they're in these positions, and they all know each other.
right,
So it might be the person at radio that's been like the one of the playlisting people for 10 years. And they know
okay,
someone at a label that's been brethren for the ages, and they're like, yo, I've got this new artist. So the person that maybe works at the label, it's in promotions, it's their job to then phone my man at radio and say, yo, I got this new thing I want to bring in, More than likely, the person's going to be receptive and play that music
interesting,
because it's the person who's bringing it through the door. 100% of nothing is nothing in it.
right.
Who are you partnering up with to make your pie bigger? And then what is the nature of that relationship? What's the dynamic? What's the percentage split? You know what I'm saying? You got to work on all that. But the music business is a business of people that have got relationships with each other that can help you if you come into the business, but somebody's got to make money from you.
It's like that central hub, really, isn't it? It's like
Somebody,
that central hub of like,
you're either
I need
paying people
marketing, this, that.
or
Yeah.
you're paying for it from your royalties.
Mm,
Either way, you're going to pay
mhm,
somehow.
mhm.
It's just how, like, if you've got money, you can leverage yourself, then fine. Then maybe you don't have to sign a deal where you're getting a smaller royalty number, but somebody's got to eat, and then you can eat too. But
Yeah.
somebody else has got to eat while you're eating, else it doesn't work.
Do you feel like there's power in like touring as an artist? And is that necessarily part of a deal? Or is that something that's purely for an artist? Even though I know what you're gonna say, you're still gonna need a team to tour in it. You're still gonna
Yeah,
need
you need
someone
you
to.
need you need a promoter because you need a promoter that works for the venues like Live 8 Nation on a lot of the
Yeah.
venues and
I
all the
know,
weather.
right?
So again, I'm saying the game is the
It's
game.
wild.
The game's the game. Well, it's the game.
Wild.
Right, so, are you working with a promoter that can get you into those venues? Because I guarantee you, you go to maybe I won't name them, but if you go to like a venue and go knock on the door and say, "Yo, okay, is your 500 cap venue that's very well known or a 1,000 cap venue? Can I come in and do a show?" A lot of the times they're gonna say no because they're gonna be like, what's your
Crowd
booking
like
history?"
booking.
Not even just what have you done a show like this side before? You be like, "No, oh sorry." we only work with promoters that have got this level of experience. But I don't have any experience doing this yet.
Well,
So
isn't that a
what
little
to
bit
do?
gatekeepy?
Yes, what the
It's
business
very
is.
gatekeepy.
It is what it's.
I don't know whether that's a word.
No,
Gatekeepy.
no, it is.
Do you know what I
But it's
mean?
also whether it's right or not, and whether it's because obviously you got Ticketmaster and Live Nation, you got
Yeah.
like the some like monopoly talks going on,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And so for me personally, whether it's right or not, the business is the business, and people are trying to maintain their control on the business and their profits within it. So I'm not here to say whether it's right or not. I'm just here to know that the business works this way, and you've got to work out how to work the business. So you might need to do and get in with a promoter that's going to help you get in that door
Yeah.
to do the show, or you
Yeah,
might need
yeah.
an agent that's going to put you in that whatever. But
There's a lot.
you know what I'm saying? The music business isn't usually a place that you just come off the street and everything's accessible to you, because no other business really is like that.
When
know
you
what I mean?
actually say it like that, I think in people's head, they just want to make music. I want to blow. But actually, when you get into the nuts and crannies, there's so much business and stuff behind it.
I just want to blow, because people say, "What? Oh, I just want to blow." Well, how though?
Yeah.
How?
I just want to blow, man.
I know people have been trying to blow for 15 years. How, bro? Like, how? Like, what's the plan? You have to have a plan, because that you're not just going to blow. It doesn't exist. Like, it doesn't exist.
It is,
It's
yeah,
not.
yeah.
It's not real. It's like even down to some of these TikTok hits.
Yeah.
People be like, "Yeah, it just blew up on TikTok."
Yeah.
No, it didn't. Somebody spent $5,000 on influence to post it. It didn't just happen.
Yeah.
It didn't. Like, it really
Nah, that's
didn't.
wild when you say it like
it's
that.
just, it's like,
Because from the outset, it's like, oh my gosh, this song's viraling, this, because you've got certain artists, new artists will come out,
yeah,
their song will blow on TikTok,
that can happen.
and
But
then
to
I
keep
don't
it
even know
going.
who the artist is.
Yeah, listen.
And then is there more pressure for them to?
Or the managers have got money, they put money into the artist and then get the money back from the label when the song blows, and like they put 10 grand in, but the label wants to give them 200 bags. Now you've just made that profit from putting 10 bags into the artist and influence and promotion and boo. Like, this is not a game where things happen by accident. Like, and you can see if you're in the business, you can see, or you'll know the agency that's working the song,
Yeah.
or you'll know, you know what I'm saying? You'll know,
Yeah.
because we know, but the consumer doesn't really know that, and that's not for them to know. At the end of the day, if they like the music, they like the music, and it's selling. But it's a business. Like Nike trainers don't end up in Foot Locker by accident.
Facts.
Do you know what I'm saying? That's not accident. It's
Or
distribution.
Yeezys are on Sports Direct now.
Yeah, but the Yeezys that Adidas are on, not the Kanye Yeezys.
Not the Kanye Yeezys.
But the thing about Kanye, which is sick, he's still got his premium brand as
Yeah,
Kanye. But
yeah.
he's still selling Yeezy products for cheap.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like he's done it sick, man.
Yeah.
But them Adidas, actually, I won't say what I want
Yeah.
to say.
Don't say what we want to say. We don't want to get cancelled because we might want to deal for
Future
Adidas.
business and all of that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
So, quick fire question. This either just makes sense or it don't make sense. And you can give a brief explanation if you really want to, based on what we've talked about.
Jeez.
Signing artists based on social media.
Does that make sense?
I'm
Are you asking me if it makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense if it drives revenue.
Why?
Yeah. If they've got a social media audience that's willing to stream their music and help promote them and be a part of the audience, then it makes sense, because what we're trying to do here is build audience. So if you've got an audience already, then it's kind of like
Easier.
It's easier.
Okay, labels taking a large percentage.
That's starting to not make sense.
I know.
But it's
longevity wise.
Yeah. The game's changing more towards 50-50s and more in the artist's favor, rather than the traditional. I mean, I heard of some deals in the States, like back in the day, they were like 11% royalties, like people like Madonna and people starting, and then anyway, I'm not gonna get too deep into that, but then it's moved towards like 20%, 23% on a major label deal. It's starting to be like 30, 40, 50. Indie labels are doing 50 as standard as start, and then you go towards, maybe we do more towards the artist's favor. So yeah, but again, it just depends what you want. Like, if you got a song, I know someone that did a song the other day, 200 grand, and the royalty that they were asking for from the label was 23%. But he wanted 200 grand for one song, 23%. He's got 200 grand.
Not bad.
Do you know what I'm saying? Depends
I
what
might just
you want.
be an artist, guys. I don't know what I don't know about
all that, but
artists blown up from TikTok from one song. Kind of know the answer to this already, but yeah, because it's more pressure.
It makes sense for now, but does it make sense for the long run? You got to make it make sense for the long run. You got to tell the story of the artist and let people get to know the artist at the same time that song's blowing up. else you're just gonna be a one-hit wonder.
Okay. Artists dropping more songs than an album.
So in this climate right now, it makes sense. But also get to that body of work where people can be like, he's an album artist as well. Because the album is what's gonna keep you in the game, it's what's gonna help you tour.
Mhm.
It's it's timestamp for your life at that point in time.
Taking a smaller deal for more control.
Make sense?
Yeah.
But again, depends what
What
you
you
want.
want. Yeah.
What that makes sense though,
Yeah.
because that emergency call I was having this morning is around kind of what makes sense for what are we doing here. And I'm always about kind of like ownership and whatever.
Mhm.
Most of my artists that I've managed have been Indian, like pretty much the whole time.
Love
So
that.
managing an indie business, I know how to do that. But sometimes, to be honest with you, sometimes it doesn't make sense for the person at the time. But it depends on what we're trying to do. So
Do you find that like it's hard for you to manage loads of different things at once? 'Cause I know you're a family man.
yeah, it
Like,
was.
I mean, I know
It
you
almost
have
killed me
loads of
if I stopped
things.
doing it.
Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, stress is stressing. Like stress is a killer, man. And at one point I took on more than I could deal with and didn't know that that was gonna happen. So some people say, "Oh, yeah, you sure you got you do a lot, you know, whatever." I'm like, "Yeah, no, I can handle it."
Mm.
And then you find out actually you can't. So yeah, you gotta kind of know your strengths and weaknesses.
Mm.
Again, partner with people, man. You might need to be like, "Yo, I've got this thing here that it might need 2 or 3 people to work
Yeah.
because I can't do it myself, but I think it's gonna be lit." So I need to work with this person, that person maybe, or, delegate. I had to learn to delegate.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'm still not the best at that, but it's something I've had to learn to do.
Yeah.
And not like, I'm going to try and do everything myself.
Mhm. So how do you manage that and how do you like maintain a positive mindset? Because I know you've struggled with mental health before. I know we've previously spoken about you being in therapy.
Yeah, I'm
And I
back in therapy.
back in
Back
therapy.
outside,
How
boys.
said. And
Yeah.
I think that's like so beautiful. I think that's so amazing. I absolutely love that for you.
Mhm.
What's been the impact for you of struggling with your mental health, but now kind of coming out of it and seeking further support through
Trying to stay
therapy?
alive.
Yeah.
Last year, I had to go to the doctors and I had an issue with my kidney.
Oh, wow.
They found a cyst on my kidney. And that's why I stopped drinking. Right. So a lot of people don't know why I stopped drinking, but I stopped drinking because like this shit isn't healthy.
Mm.
I was never an alcoholic, so before anybody thinks that why did you stop? I wasn't an alcoholic. I used to like drinking socially, whatever.
As well as the environments that you're in, there's
Environments I
always
mean, there's always
alcohol around,
alcohol. And I'm not a
free
person that's gonna be
drinks.
like, yo, I'm just gonna down everything. It's like,
Yeah.
yo,
Just like, oh, I'll have a little
I
glass, I'll
have
have
the
a little
nickname
sort of
Champagne Desi. Love to do a bit of champagne every now and then,
tipple.
bit of prosecco and that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, not to say that that was the cause of the kidney thing. It
Mm.
wasn't. It was just that I'm also gonna know and acknowledge that if I've got a kidney issue, then I'm not gonna keep introducing like these toxins into my body that are just breaking it down. So I stop drinking. And then come to find that really the kidney thing in the system, it was about cortisol in my system and it was just stress.
I'm
I
so
was
sorry you
I
went through
was
that.
killing myself with stress.
Mm.
And anybody that knew me at the time and
Would
the
know.
year before, no, 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 no. Anybody that knew me
Would
at the
know.
time
Yeah, yeah.
closely in that and the year before knew I was stressed as hell. Like stress, like anxiety, stress, like loads of things going on. I was trying to do a lot. There's a lot of things happening. There was like deals that are done and things that things you've got to deliver on yet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff happening.
And there's a
I
lot of
was
responsibility as
I
well.
had the final responsibility. I was the boss. I had employees. I had like and not only did I have employees that answered to me and needed my direction or whatever, I've got a family that needed my direction and whatever and needed me being there. And also at the same time, I manage artists that also need that. And we've got artists signed on the label that need that as well. And at any one point in time, I was just like, whoa, this is what have I done? Like I've just built all this like
But raw, I might need 5 minutes for myself.
and I needed a year.
It's needed though.
I needed a year.
How often do
I
men
took a
really
year off.
even take time off to just
I had to.
focus on
I had
themselves?
to. I was going to die. I'm not even joking. Like I was so stressed that somehow, some way, I wasn't gonna be alive, like for various reasons, and I had to. And a lot of people didn't understand why. I just had to say, "Yo, guys, like, I actually can't do this anymore. I can't." And I've got kids, so I need to stay here for my kids. Like, so all this other shit that's going on. Sorry, I'm out for a while. Nobody understood it. Like, I fell out with people I fell out with, and understandably so at the time. Do you know what I'm saying? But like at the same time, I needed to do it.
For yourself.
I needed to still be here. I've got kids to live for. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, like, yeah, it was just. the stress thing, and then like therapy now, having been through my mental trip and like figuring out who I am again and what makes me tick and what do I care about, which is important. I mean, I lost a lot of that shit. Like I was doing music business, but I was like, I love music, but I don't even know if I'm like actually in love with this shit anymore because what I'm doing constantly, I didn't feel like I was. Do you know what I'm saying?
Doing enough, yeah.
Yeah, so I come out of that now, back in therapy. Me and my therapist are making breakthroughs. It's been amazing for me. Like I needed it. Some people I have had long standing mental health issues since I was a kid. Like that I've
Wow.
got like I had to go see a child psychologist when I was at school. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like a lot of death happened around me really early. A
Mhm.
lot of undiagnosed depression and things, even down to the fact that now, in my 40th year, I found out I was autistic, which I guarantee contributed to a lot of the stuff I was going through when I was a kid as well. But nobody picked up on it at the time. We didn't talk about that shit. So I've been dealing with this for a long time
Yeah.
and trying to find coping mechanisms to deal with it as well. And it's been
Up
a
and
down
down.
thing. But I actually feel at the moment, and hopefully it stays that way, and hopefully I'm building the right mechanisms to maintain that. But I feel really healthy at the moment. I feel really positive. Um, I feel really grounded. I know who I am, and blah blah blah. And like I said, I'm in therapy, and we're making breakthroughs. And yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I'm in a good place. So
I feel
I
like
think I got light in my eyes again.
you've
No,
always had
well,
light in your eyes.
nah, not always.
Maybe I didn't see it,
You didn't see that because
but
if I
still.
ever go missing on social media for a long period of time, I'm going through it.
And when I see that now, I'm gonna be texting you like, Despa, it's
There's
Mel.
people who will message me like, "You good?" I'm like, "Oh,
I feel like there's power in healing and there's
yeah,
power
yeah."
in
Power owning it,
resting
man.
and owning it. And, oftentimes we just keep going and going and going and going and going. I need to do this, need to do this. And at some point, God's going to sit your ass down and
God
say,
did that.
because it happened to me too. Like I had an overactive thyroid for 2 years.
Mm,
It was kind of like a chemical imbalance. And
mm,
I just wake up crying, didn't eat,
mm.
couldn't work out. Like I could be sitting here normal, my heart's beating. Da, 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 da.
Keeping up.
It's so deep because I was like, I don't know whether I'm going to come out of this. I don't know whether, and because I'm quite a confident person and
Mhm,
I'm a personality person, I was literally depressing Deborah for 2 years.
mhm. Sorry, but I
Wild.
get it though. Like I was,
Do you get what I mean?
I know exactly where
Wild.
you were.
And at the time I was on BBC West Midlands.
Yeah,
So I'd go and do my show
yeah.
and I'd
Go
come home and cry and I'd
right,
just
yeah.
be like, I
Mhm,
can't talk to anyone. I couldn't even, it's like my mouth was trapped. I
mhm.
couldn't even talk. Like I feel like this whole chakra bit was just closed. And
Chakra, man.
yeah, like people didn't understand it. And for me, I don't know whether it's the same for you. It was that thing of like, you need to take health seriously. You need to eat right. You need to look after yourself.
Take iron, yo.
Take
No, 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 no.
irons.
No, listen, listen.
Yo.
Yo, my eyes, yo. People don't understand what iron deficiency does to you.
Right.
You
Talk
think you
about
think you
it.
think you're depressed. No, you just don't have enough iron in your body.
That part.
Nah, nah. Listen, when I found out I was iron deficient as well, yeah, and I started taking iron regularly and eating more steak,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that, just getting iron into my body. That's helped me also feel a whole
100%.
different person. Listen, people,
Tell them there. Tell them there.
people, go and research the symptoms of iron deficiency, and it will change your life. Like you may not be depressed, you might just need to eat more steak,
Mm-hmm.
or go take iron tablets.
With the pressures that we've got in life, everything's expensive. And it goes back to that Maslow hierarchy of needs. If you ain't got
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
certain
yeah, yeah.
things,
You're gonna
you are naturally going to slip. And sometimes people don't even think about that. What advice would you give to men, especially, you know, how to take that journey of healing?
Um, how honest do I want to be?
I want you to be real.
December 2023, I sent my friend a photo of me on a roof in New York. Right,
Wow.
it's not what you think though. Right, and I didn't think it was what I thought it was when I sent the photo. So I woke up one day, I went to New York. If anybody knows me, you know I'm spontaneous like that. So literally, I woke up. I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna go to New York. Booked the room and everything. Had the flight was like 1 or something like that. I was out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Actually, no, I missed the flight that day because I didn't have my ass there and I had to go the next day. But anyway, so random journey to New York. Didn't tell anybody. I just went.
Mm-hmm.
because I love an adventure. And then I sent my friend this photo of me just like, yo. And that was December 2023. About a month ago, so this is probably a year later, talking to the same friend. And he's like, blood. And I thought, yo, what you saying about that photo? I thought you jumped off the building. He's
Wow.
like, he thought that I'd gone there to kill myself.
Mhm.
Yeah. And he was phoning around people like, yo, where, like frantically thinking that
Something's happened.
that something's happened because I've sent him a photo on a rooftop in New York. Now the reason why I just told that story is because for my friend to think that, yeah, at the time means I was in a really dark place,
Yeah.
a really bad place,
Yeah.
and people around me thought I was gonna harm myself. Yeah. And to be fair and to be honest with you, there has been times when I've really felt like I was gonna harm myself.
Yeah.
And the only reason, and last year was, I was close last year. Yeah, I was close last year, and the only reason I'm still here is because of my kids.
Amen.
For anybody that's going through it, speak to people or
Yeah.
do it on your own. I phoned my friend and I was crying, and I said, different friend, by the way, and I was like, I feel like I'm gonna do it. The fact that I'm phoning my friend means like I don't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't phone if you're gonna kill yourself, like you're just gonna go do it. You know? So I was there, and
Could you get a tissue, please?
but I was so close. I was like,
It's
if I don't
scary.
phone, I'm fucking terrified. If I don't phone my friend, I might actually do this.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, my friend, thank you. He didn't need to talk me out of anything because I wasn't gonna do it anyway. Like, 'cause I knew I wasn't gonna do it. But I knew I'd lost the failsafe in my head that made me know I wasn't gonna do it though. Do you know, like a surety that I'm not going to do this year? It was gone. I didn't care. I knew I didn't care. I was like, I actually don't care about being alive at the moment, and that's scary. Do you know what I'm saying? It's scary, and the only thing that kept me here was knowing I can't do that to my kids. Because if anybody again knows me and knows my family history, I've had my dad, my uncle, my nan, my granddad on my dad's side, my brother, and a few other people killed themselves. I've had friends kill themselves. I've had a family history of suicide, and I also know what that did to me as a kid with all these people dropping down around me. And am I gonna visit that on my children? No, I'm not. So thank God for them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, but also thank God for me having the strength to not do that to them.
Yeah.
Because really, I was gonna say it's selfish because but the thing is,
I don't think it's selfish.
no, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. I was
It's
gonna start
just how
myself.
you feel about yourself at
That's
the
the thing,
time.
because somebody was it last year that there's an artist called Jevon. Do you know Jevon killed him?
Yeah.
All right. And I was in a conversation with somebody, and they were kind of cussing him, but just from a point of view of he's got children, how could he do that to his kids? They weren't cussing him. They were just like, yo, how could you do that? And I had to have a real serious conversation with him and say, you know what? If he's done that, he couldn't handle being here anymore. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he couldn't, whatever he was going through, he couldn't take it anymore and said, I have to go. Because nobody leaves their kids if they're able to stay here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just talk, man. Just talk, man. Just fucking talk. And I think, Mel, this is why I had this conversation with you today, because I knew I wanted to talk about this shit. And I was like, who am I going to talk to have this conversation with, and to have this be something that's on the record? Because I don't know, like, but I want this on the record.
And I really appreciate you like being so vulnerable and sharing that. I think that's so powerful, Despa. So powerful. It does not make you weak.
No, it doesn't.
Do you know what I mean? It makes you even more powerful, the fact that you can actually sit here today and have this conversation. There is so much power in that. And there's so many people that are in the same situation that
This is
might
why I want
see
to talk.
you
This is why I want to talk.
thinking you've got your whole life
Nah,
together.
I don't all the
And
time.
everyone's
Don't.
got perceptions of social media. And
Don't.
actually, people are going through real life shit and fighting with, do I want to be here? So I'm so grateful that you were able to share that in this space with me.
No, that's cool. I just like, again,
Thank you so much.
there's gonna be people that like you just, like you might need help, and if you need help, go find the help.
Mhm.
Like, cause I'm really happy at the moment.
I love
Do you know what I'm
that.
saying? Like
I can see it.
I'm really
Like there's
happy.
just a lighter beaming
No,
off you
I'm
today.
really happy. But if I spoke to 6 months ago, like, and I've got friends, big up TRC, man. It's my friend I've been talking to nearly every day. That's really other people as well, but I'm just mean like from a daily. I've had people there for me that have been trying to get me out the shit and just like, yo, checking up on me, my friend Ben, Nicholas, Anthony, Mayhem. Like, there's people that are like my loved ones that have made sure that they've surrounded me. Do you know what I mean? But you've got to talk. You have to talk. You have to. It could be a professional. It could be a friend. And sometimes you don't want to talk to your friends because you don't feel you don't want to feel like a burden. Which is, I understand that as well. So just find help. Like, find it if you need it. Just find it. So there we go.
I'm like
That's my story.
so happy that you are in a space of happiness. Because
I'm
I know
gassed.
we had an
I got
in-depth
tears in my eyes, but I'm gassed. Like I'm genuinely
because it's
in
like a
life. I'm
new
gassed at the
lease.
moment.
It's like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
new
yeah,
lease of life,
yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Like when you have that setback, it can set you back so far back that it's like, whoa, how am I going to get back to me? Because I know what I can be.
Mm.
But one thing about our conversation yesterday, this chatty patty, we spoke
Ah.
about
I
we
told you.
spoke about
And none
things.
of that's going on the record either.
We spoke
None of
about
it.
things that Despa has made me sign a no non-disclosure form that I cannot say, but the fact that
But we had to have,
we had to
we had to have that discussion for me to have this other discussion.
100%. That's why I called you.
Because it's like,
So I know you're introverted,
yeah,
so I needed to
yeah. You have to prime me. Yeah, you have
right.
to prime me. But yeah, none of that's going on the record.
None of that's going. None of that's going on the record.
Gosh.
So I just think like I'm so happy that you came today. I am so grateful that you blessed this podcast and you were really open about being vulnerable and your experience because perception is wild.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know what? Perception is reality, though. So if somebody perceives something, it's their reality to them. So sometimes you can't blame them. But at the same time, it's not always what it is, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People control perception nowadays. Instagram, they're gonna put up all the best bits, but you might be in the toilet.
Yeah. Just not doing the
Might be in
greatest.
the toilet.
Yeah.
This is why I go missing. I can't do that as well. Like, I can't, like, if I'm feeling shit, I can't pretend I'm okay.
No.
So
Just say I'm not okay.
yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
okay.
And I think sometimes, especially if you're quite a strong person, your natural thing is, oh, let me just not go away. Let me stay away from people.
Yeah,
I don't want them to really know what's going on.
yeah,
Let's see what
yeah,
I do with myself.
yeah.
And that's what can really make your head trip and go to a certain place. But God's not ready. God's not giving up on you, Despa.
I know that,
I know you do.
Thank you. And at the same time, like, God has shown me that, though. So I'm not a religious person by any measure. Like, I believe in. I'm a spiritual person. I believe in God, like, wholeheartedly. I'm not an organized religious person. Especially the three Abrahamic sorts. You know what I'm saying? But God has shown me,
He's real.
and I can't, like, I don't have any doubts. Like, I don't have any doubts. Like, there's God, and I've got guardian angels, and them lot are fucking with me, and they're like, yo,
Yeah.
bro, we need you here.
Yeah.
You've got things to do.
Yeah.
You've got parts to play in your own life. You've got parts to play in other people's lives. Which is one of the reasons why, if you're around me, I'm always trying to give as much information and positivity as possible. But it is what it is.
It's different to knowing you can do it. But when you're like, God loves me, He showed me each time there's like a level of peace that anything that comes my way or becomes a problem is either a lesson or something that I've just got to get and deal with.
And to talk to that point, yeah, I bought a car for somebody recently, and me and him had the most, like, his name's Jay as well, randomly. His last name's Khan, but it's not JK. So anyway, we had this, like, mad discussion, like, about life. Like, we fill in the paperwork for the car and we start talking, and then his mum brings me some water and we just start talking more, and it's like, yo, we're having this conversation for ages. And somehow we got into the conversation about depression, and he's like, he believes that if you truly believe in God, like, you can't really be in that space. And I was like, what makes you think that? And he was like, because if you do really believe in God, then you believe that everything's happening for a reason, and you can take strength in that, good or bad. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, and I heard him out. We were talking about it. I was like, you know what? I get you.
Yeah.
You know, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
That if you can give yourself to a higher power and be like, there's a plan for me, then
You just got your power
it's like,
back.
this too shall pass.
Yeah, this too shall pass.
This too shall
My
pass.
friend, she's a pastor, and obviously I was in church on New Year's Eve for the first time. Absolutely, mate. That's how I started my year. And I've been building a closer relationship with God, Pentecostal Christianity. And my friend, Leanne, big up Leanne Jacobs, she is a pastor. She did a speech,
Big up, yeah.
testimony. One of them with this year was, if the situation stinks so bad it stinks, you have to leave that one to God. Do you get what I mean? Because you know, sometimes a situation can be so bad.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't know how you're going to get out of it. You don't know what you're going to do. You don't know which direction to go into. It's that thing of like, nah, God, you're going to have to take that one, because I can't worry about that anymore. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. But that little stinky one there, that stinky nappy there, I need you to go and deal with that. And it's like a level of peace of like, actually, I'm not going to worry about things that I can't actually change. Because sometimes it is other people. Sometimes it's situations that you don't have control over.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just got to remove yourself and be like, that one's you, big man. That one's your thing there. And I think even that's given me a level of peace that not everything I need to firefight and deal with. Some things you just have to let be and just try and do the best that you can do. But what's your one last piece of advice as Mr. Despa Robinson?
Be willing to change direction,
Mm,
because not every plan is going to work. Not every song is going to work. Not everything is going to work. But you need to be willing to keep moving, and you need to be willing to pivot into other directions and other ways and strategies of doing things if you're going to continue. And this is a marathon, not a
race.
sprint. So
Absolutely love
those
that.
are my advices there. And yeah, just keep making great art.
Going. And any projects you've got coming up? I know you're podding. You being
I am podding.
You're podding.
As you know what, this wasn't even to promo, but
Promo?
I have Despa Robinson Plus,
Yes.
which is a podcast that I started a few weeks ago, and I've done one episode. And because I've got mad busy randomly out the blue, whenever it was quiet, I've got one episode. so I'll have a second episode soon, but which I've actually done. Actually, I just need to finish it. So
Okay.
and then I'll have a third one and the fourth one. Well, I did say to myself when I did it, I was going to put pressure on myself about I need to drop every week. So well, I need to drop one soon.
Yeah.
So the Despa Robinson Plus, that's that. There is obviously B83 company. We still here, B. JK's got music coming, and led by her is about to take over the world. Rachel, she's amazing, and we're having loads of great conversations. So from a management and label point of view, things is running.
Amazing.
And I'm gonna do one other thing, product wise, that I think I'm gonna do this year as well.
Beard oil.
Do you know what? I thought about that a few times, and then somebody, was it SNY did it? Somebody that I knew did it, and I was like, I can't do that now, because then I don't want to be like,
Yeah.
I'm
I
like,
hear that.
copy, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't do that. But to be fair with you, and at the time, I had the beard.
Yeah,
My beard was longer.
yeah.
It was luscious and luxurious, and I should have.
It still looks good.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I like the little greys.
But does it look luxurious though?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I like the
peppery,
little,
man. I think it's
I like the little
peppery,
grey.
You know, and I'm not
streaks.
dyeing my beard
No,
ever.
don't do it.
I
Don't do it.
I don't believe in that. Some
Girls
people
love
be
that.
looking like they got licorice colored skin and it's like, bro, what are you doing? Just accept that you're going to age.
Simple.
Just accept it.
Where can everyone find you?
I'm at Despa Robinson everywhere.
Everywhere.
Brand name. And if you want to follow B83 Music, we're at B83 Music everywhere as well. But at Despa Robinson on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter as well, which I'm like always active on, and TikTok, which I'll be using soon. But like, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you
No, thank you.
so much for joining me. Like, this has just been such an amazing interview.
Thanks for the invite.
It's just been so powerful. And I really appreciate you being vulnerable in the space. And
Thank you, because I'm never gonna do this again.
I know. I'm glad that I created a safe space for you to be that way. Do you know what I mean? And
but
you
I'm never
know,
doing this ever again.
I really appreciate that. And
thank you.
I'm so happy that you've got all of these amazing things coming up.
Yeah, man, it's good
I'm
shit.
glad that you're happy. I can see the beam of light shining from you.
You got you, Mel.
Big
Thank
up
you.
Despa Robinson.
Thank you.
Big you up.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Mek Sense with Melzy. Please make sure that you subscribe, you like the video. We also want all of your comments. A lot of you guys watch the videos and listen to us on Spotify, but you need to be clicking that subscribe button, okay? So we can build that community. If you are
Subscribe.
if you are struggling with any mental health or suicide or any of that kind of stuff, there will be some information in the description box where you can access support. We are out for now. See you soon. Bye.